Klima lead the Caps 2-0, the Joe Louis Arena here in Detroit, Michigan. Back to Capitals hockey on WDCA 20. I'm Al Koken, and joined by Capitals center iceman Michael Pivonka, who's sitting out his first game of the. You are very familiar with Peter Klima. I'm sure you've seen him do that many times before. A very gifted offensive player. You got to keep a closer eye on him than the Capitals did there.
Yeah, he's a very good hockey player, and he can score lots of goals if nobody stay with him too closer. And I think that he's playing his role in Detroit. He's got 16 or 15 goals this year, and he's a very good player. He was the same like back at home in Czechoslovakia, just score goals. That was his game.
Let's talk a little bit about scoring goals and the lack thereof for the Washington Capitals. It's not fair to point to any one person in a team game, but I know the Capitals, and I know you personally, were counting on a little more offense from yourself this year. What has been the problem with your game and with the team's game on offense?
The problem with my game, I don't know, just the puck doesn't go in. I got a few shots every game, a few chances, just, I don't know, I hope that the puck will go in and will be, everything will be better. And about the team, it's tough to play like today game. You know, they are 2-0 lead, and always when you are behind, it's tough to play. Everything is, you can work harder, and but everything is easier for the other team. And I don't know, we play too many games this year behind first period 2-0 or something. So everything is, and offensively, I don't know. We got few guys who scored, and too many guys like myself, for example, we didn't, just the puck doesn't go in. I don't know.
I saw Peter Sundstrom, for example, in the first period, wide open, shot the puck quickly, didn't put it on net. The chances are there, but the confidence just does not seem to be there for people to finish off the plays.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just when you're playing behind the other team, what we playing mostly, like, I don't know, since the season start, that's everything is, you know, you want to make it, everything is harder, and I don't know, just maybe sometimes just shoot a puck or find it some easier way to shoot a puck or something. We just maybe too much think about it, how to score or something. I don't know.
Well, Michael, we thank you for the visit. See you back in the lineup soon at the Capitol Center, I'm sure. And for being our intermission guest, Michael Pivonka receives a gift certificate from Dash's Designer Menswear, where they have a tradition in quality menswear. And we'll return with more intermission activity from the Joe Louis Arena after these words on DC 20. Better effort in this first period than they did last night at Maple Leaf Gardens, but the result is the same. They are behind, this time 2-0 to the Detroit Red Wings, who got goals from defenseman Mike O'Connell and the very shifty forward Peter Klima. Klima's goal coming with only 20 seconds left in that first period. We'll return and rejoin Mike Fornes after these messages on DC 20.
To play, it's Detroit 2 and the Washington Capitals nothing here on our hockey telecast tonight from the Joe Louis Arena. Mike Fornes and Al Koken with you here on DC 20 tonight. Now let's take a look at the other games taking place around the National Hockey League, and we'll check the out-of-town scores. First of all, New Jersey is at Madison Square Garden tonight playing against the New York Rangers. They are tied in the first period, 1-1, the score there. Montreal has pulled ahead of Quebec now at the Forum. 3-1, the Canadians have a lead over Quebec Nordiques. Chicago's in Minnesota. They're 0-0 in the first. Winnipeg at Calgary just getting started, and Edmonton at Los Angeles later on. Let's take a look at the highlights of tonight's first period now. Detroit getting 2 goals, and Al, I thought both goals went in off Washington defensemen.
I think you're right, Mike. Definitely the first one does. You see Scott Stevens without his stick, without a glove, scrambling, trying to do something to help out. But as he gets in front, that slap shot from Mike O'Connell bangs below Stevens' knee, past Clint Malarchuk and into the goal. That got the Red Wings started 1-0. Then, with only 20 seconds left in the period, the Red Wings come all the way out. They clear the puck, and they move it very well. Jacques Demers likes guys who work the boards and are strong on the boards. And here's a nice play by Gilbert Delorme, who had a sensational first period. Moves it over. The pass comes down to Shabbat. Look at Peter Klima, and watch. Does it go off Kevin Hatcher? Tough to call from that angle, but too much room given. You see the nice dissection, the way the Red Wings move that puck out of the zone quickly and spread things out. You got it coming down the middle, over to the wing, and then back in the middle to the guy trailing. That's where you have to get forwards to come back and help defensively. The Capitals didn't get it on that Klima goal.
Wasn't sure if the puck hit Hatcher in front of the net or maybe a piece of Malarchuk's padding, but it definitely changed direction on its way into that Washington net to give Detroit the 2-0 lead. Probably the most distressing statistic in the first period, Al, would have to be the shots right now. 12-4 after one period of play. The Capitals' effort in that department will have to improve.
And you think about they had good scoring chances. You go back early in the period, Peter Sundstrom wide open in an effort to try and get something done, though. He had time, didn't know it, shot the puck as quickly as he could, didn't even get it on goal. That is Exhibit A and the problems the Capitals are having. Scoring at even strength. They're getting the chances. They're getting the time to do something, not getting it done. Last night in Toronto, a couple plays with Christian and Gartner. The Gartner play the most amazing, standing all alone in front of Alan Bester, had at least 4 seconds to do something with, stood there and stared eye to eye with Bester. Bester didn't move. Gartner finally took the shot. No sense of moving, try to get Bester to move at all. It's a problem Washington has not been overcome all year long, and it just magnifies when you fall behind early.
How about the shorthanded opportunity tonight with Gartner and Gustafsson in on the 2-on-1 break? Pretty well the same thing. So we're all set to go for the second period. We'll be back with the opening face-off of period number 2 after this.
Tonight's Capitals hockey game is brought to you in part by the Masonry Institute. Watch out, Washington, Brick and Block are back. By your Washington area Buick dealers. By K Jewelers, the Diamond People. And by Safeway.
We've just begun tonight's second period. The puck is cleared from the faceoff back into the Washington zone, and Scott Stevens is in to try and battle Burr for the puck. He moves it ahead on the left wing side, and here's Kelly Miller to center. Miller gets across the blue line back into the Red Wing zone, tries to center. Hallward slaps it away. Detroit has a 2-0 lead over the Capitals. Greg Steffen moves it out. It comes to center. Scott Stevens starts right back in. His high wrist shot goes off the glove of Steffen and over to the backboards. Now out to center ice, and Scott Stevens to play it again. Sends it back into the Red Wing zone. Gilbert Delorme out to Kumpel. Breaks to center and into the skates of Burr. Sean Burr at the center line has it taken away by Bob Gould, and now Kevin Hatcher starts over to Stevens. Back into the Red Wing zone. Sundstrom tied up on the play by Delorme. In the corner is Bob Gould. He's checked by Bridgman. Now Stevens at the point. Bounces it right in front, and the loose puck is collared by goalkeeper Greg Steffen. He had a lot of traffic in front of him, and the Capitals' Bob Gould discussing that right now with Hallward, who tried to get him out of there in a hurry.
Well, the traffic was supplied by Peter Sundstrom. Even though he was tied up with Hallward, Sundstrom able to get a stick on it. The deflection up there, Hallward's got him. And then after the whistle, you see the shove that Hallward gives Sundstrom, and that has Bob Gould stepping in. Better take precautions when you're that close to the ice. And you notice referee Bob Hall joining the ranks of helmeted officials in the National Hockey League as he's working tonight's game.
Even the off-ice officials now in New York, and I notice in Philadelphia wearing the helmets along the sideline. Of course, you wear one during the pregame, right?
That's right.
During the warm-up.
When I get down close to those boards, that helmet comes on. Interesting that a few of the Detroit Red Wings, they've only got 2 guys that wear face shields, and they also have 2 guys that do not have helmets at all. But because of an eye injury to Brent Ashton, a lot of guys now are starting to seriously think about changing that for Detroit and at least wear face shields.
Puck cleared out to center ice, and Greg Smith at the red line dumps it right back into Red Wings territory. The play is called offside.
Doesn't take much. I know Mel Bridgman was, when he talked about wearing that, it was a situation. You got a veteran player like that, he's concerned, and a lot of those guys think about it, and a lot of them talk about the injury to Hector Marini, when not only did he get an eye injury, he literally lost his eye. That is what prompted a lot of players in the National Hockey League to reconsider their decision to go without a face shield, and Jacques Demers encourages his players to wear them.
Veach trading passes now with Harold Snepps. Back to center ice. Dumps it into the Washington zone. Malarchuk kicks it over to the corner. Gallant behind the net. Chasing the puck, but Greg Smith comes up with it and now starts to center for Kelly Miller. Here's Miller across the blue line. Dekes his way in. A high wrist shot goes wide. Veach pushed away from the puck by Mike Gartner. Capitals pressuring now. Here's Gartner turning it around at center point and has it blocked. It goes to the sideboards for Gustafsson. Gustafsson tries to launch the pass for in front of the net. It comes back to the blue line, and Hatcher has it knocked down. It's taken out to center. Probert rushing ahead. Tied up by Smith, but feeds it over to Yzerman. He's dumped to the ice. The Capitals come back on the attack. Here's Kelly Miller. And Hatcher cruises across the line ahead of the play. Offside is called.
Well, the Capitals have already pumped 3 shots on Greg Steffen. There's the play that the Detroit fans are howling about, but I don't think there's a call warranted on that. Mike Gartner had a little contact, but Yzerman went down pretty easily.
I don't know if there's any correlation at all to Mike Gartner wearing the captain's C and his game style, but an interesting thing, you know, Gartner not overly known for picking up an awful lot of assists. Started out the season with lots of goals, not many assists, and now here in the last 7 games that he has played, he's come up with 10 assists. And during those games, he's been the captain of the club.
Well, it's one of those situations, you got a guy who's such a great goal scorer, he's going to get plenty of attention. If he's going to get 2 guys on you, that means somebody has to be open. And Mike Gartner is starting to look and find more of an open man. And he's getting also some good plays on the power play. When they're moving the puck down low with Gartner down there with Gustafsson and some other people, they're getting good scoring chances because he is moving the puck quickly.
Gartner still the club's leading goal scorer with 18, and their leading point man with 30 points. Scott Stevens into the corner. Puts it behind the net for Gary Galley. Galley banks it off the boards out to center, and O'Connell back to chase it. At center ice, Scott Stevens returns the puck to the Red Wing zone. Sharples over after it, but Adams keeps the pressure on him. Into the corner goes O'Connell to try and get it. He's taken out by Ridley. The puck loose along the sideboards for Greg Adams. He puts it behind the Red Wing net. Here's Sharples on the right side for Barr, out to center. Galley ties up, and the puck comes back to Scott Stevens. Bounces it past Mike O'Connell, who gets in the way of Ridley and allows Sharples some time to try and clear it out. He gets it over to Eaves. Murray Eaves to Higgins, out to O'Connell. O'Connell in across the Washington line with a right wing pass. And that play broken up. There's going to be a penalty call here for hooking. This will be against Washington. There's a break in the action with a score. The Red Wings 2 and the Capitals nothing.
It's a pathway that leads from here to tomorrow, from sea to shining sea. The great American road belongs to you. It's the feeling of smoothness, of power and grace. The road up ahead is a man. The great American road belongs to you.
A very frustrated Greg Adams in the penalty box for hooking, and you can imagine why. He certainly did a nice job of helping out. We talk about the defenseman needing help from the forwards. Well, Adams came back and tied up Murray Eaves, but he pulled him down on it, and that forced the call. But without his help, Murray Eaves is wide open in front of the net. So you got to give Adams high mark for coming back and getting involved, but it gives the Red Wings another power play chance.
Time of the penalty, 3:38. Offside called here against Detroit. The faceoff will be in neutral ice with 1:44 left to go in the Adams penalty. I'm sure with Rod Langway out of the lineup, Al, Scott Stevens has had to shoulder more than a lot of the load that has to be taken up when a guy like Langway is out of the lineup. And Scott's, I'm sure through a lot of frustration, among other things, had to pick up more penalties. And in the last 10 games since Langway's been missing, Stevens has picked up 59 minutes in penalties. He started the year not taking many penalties at all. A couple misconducts in there, too.
Other than a night up in Hartford where he got a lot of penalties and was very frustrated, he has kept his cool pretty well. He has done a sensational job, and we understand some good news on Rod Langway. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Here's Kelly Miller charging in on the right wing side. He's hooked, but gets the shot away just wide of the net. Back to the left point. Stevens tries to keep it in and does, but now the Red Wings come back. Here's Hallward to center. Gets across the line to Yzerman. Into the corner for Probert. Throws it behind the net. Now over to Yzerman. Back to Gallant. Puts it behind the net for Probert. Red Wings centering their power play attack to the right side of the ice as Veach has it at the point, and Miller chases him all the way back to the blue line. Now it's thrown into the corner. Here's Yzerman to start out. The wings shift to the left side. Over to the right side for Veach. Rink wide goes the pass and hops off the stick of Yzerman. And Hatcher keeps the pressure on. Yzerman with the puck. 50 seconds left in the power play. A drive and the save made by Malarchuk. And it's cleared off the boards and sent all the way down the ice. Down to 40 seconds left in the Greg Adams penalty. The Capitals change up on the fly. Greg Smith out at center. Veach to get it, and he starts out. Lead pass to center. Hallward flipping across the line into the corner. Probert throws it right in front of the net, and Gallant gets off a good shot, but Malarchuk sprawls and makes the save.
Boy, what a big save at this time in the hockey game on Gerard Gallant, made by Clint Malarchuk. This Red Wing team goes up 3-0. Be very tough to catch him. They spread things out coming up on the rush. The slot is free. Gerard Gallant, who's got an excellent shot, takes it, but a terrific save by Clint Malarchuk. At the other end, Kelly Miller had a chance as he weaves around short-handed, makes a couple good moves, and shoots the puck wide. I think Stefan may have gotten just a little piece of it. But a big save by Clint Malarchuk with 17 seconds remaining in the Greg Adams penalty. That slot area opened up once again, and the Red Wings almost took advantage.
From the face-off, the puck goes to the backboards, and Larry Murphy has it taken away right off his skates. And Barr pokes it home after the goal mouth pass. Detroit has moved in front 3-0 with a power play goal.
This is literally the Capitals defense getting out-muscled by the Red Wing forwards. No other story. Watch as the play develops. The Capitals seem in control, but shoved off the puck is Larry Murphy, and that turns everything around. Gustafsson gets the face-off into the corner, watches it's being chased down. Puck is fanned on. Murphy in front, pushed away. He does not take anybody out, and it slid right in front. The concentration completely over to the right side of Malarchuk, and Barr wide open. Good forechecking, pushed away twice to get that puck free with the Capitals by the Red Wings, and they capitalize to take the 3-0 lead. Really outplaying Washington badly on that shift.
That's the first goal of the season for Dave Barr. It comes on the power play at the 5:26 mark.
His first goal of the season, David Barr, from number 16, John Shabbat and Peter Klima.
Shabbat and Klima get the assists on the goal by Barr. Detroit with a 3-0 lead now over the Capitals. Kumpel out at center ice. Has it taken away. Hunter back across the blue line for Franciscetti, and O'Connell takes over now for Detroit. The puck cleared all the way down the ice back into the Washington zone. Malarchuk stops behind the net and leaves it there for Kevin Hatcher. Up on the right wing for Bob Gould. Collision now at the Red Wing net as Sundstrom was pushed into Stefan. The goal comes dislodged. And we'll have a face-off inside the Detroit zone, or just outside the blue line, rather.
How typical of the situation that happens to a team that's struggling like the Capitals. You come into a game, you worry about one major line for the Detroit Red Wings, that being Yzerman, Probert, and Gallant. And the checking center in this team, John Shabbat, comes out tonight with 3 assists right off the bat. How typical. You concentrate, you do a pretty good job on the big guns, and it's the little guys who hurt you. But that is also the mark of a Jacques Demers team. He gets all his lines involved in play, and boy, does he love the play of John Shabbat. He's showing why tonight. Shabbat has been outstanding so far.
Offside called here against Washington. Al, as you mentioned earlier, the Capitals with a lot of Norris Division games coming up, and these Norris opponents are really teams that Washington should be capable of beating and handling. And other than the loss to Toronto last night, the Red Wings are the only other Norris Division team that has a victory over the Caps this year. They've done well against Chicago, against Minnesota. They've got to take advantage of games like that. Those are where your points should come from. They'll be seeing the Maple Leafs on Friday night at the Capitol Center, and tickets are available.
The Maple Leafs played a very disciplined game last night, something that the Capitals have gotten away from. It used to be the Capitals that would create those forward-checking turnovers.
There's a break in the action with a score. The Red Wings 3 and the Capitals nothing.
Remember, each weeknight you'll find the best happy hour in town right here on DC 20 with Cheers back-to-back at 6:30 and 7 o'clock p.m. Tune in tomorrow night for a full hour of fun.
Face-off just outside the Washington blue line. The Red Wings lead 3-0 with 12:56 to play in the second period. Last night the Capitals fell behind and then came roaring back, trying to stage a comeback in the game. They could use a similar effort right now. Puck cleared the length of the ice, and Murphy's back to get it. No icing. Murphy jammed up on the backboards, and the puck cleared out to center. Here's Ridley. He's across the line. Tries to flip it in front and can't find Dave Christian. Snepps chases him away. Ridley to the blue line. Greg Smith, the shot bounces just wide of the net. Ridley in to chase it. Over now to Greg Adams. Adams can't get it centered. And Snepps in to throw a hit. The puck cleared all the way between the defense and back into the Washington zone. Red Wings changing on the fly. 12 minutes to go here in period number 2. Greg Adams deflects it from center back inside the Red Wing end. Jeff Sharples tied up on the play by Gustafsson. Manages to work free. And back to the point. Here's Scott Stevens. Deflected by Sharples. Out of the zone. Here's Yzerman. A breakaway. He's in alone on Stevens. A deke. A shot. And a goal. Yzerman took off from center ice. Had Stevens to get past, and then Malarchuk, and he took them both. Detroit leads 4-0.
And the Red Wings caught Kevin Hatcher pinching in from the right point. Hatcher is a betwixt and between, doesn't know whether to come in or stay back, and they catch him flat-footed. The quick breakout pass to the shifty Steve Yzerman, and he does the rest with a fine move. Cuts in there. Now, Scott Stevens kept the stick down, didn't close ground fast enough. It looks like he had a little time here, but before he could close in there, Yzerman makes one quick move to cut in towards the middle, and Steve Yzerman picks up goal number 22 on the year. The young captain has been outstanding for the Detroit Red Wings all season long, and he shows you why he's become one of the best young center icemen in the league.
Time of the goal, 8:23. Gallant and Sharples get the assists. Yzerman leads the Red Wings in goals, assists, and points. He now has 47 points on the year. Scott Stevens, a lead pass out to center ice, and here's Ed Kastelik across the blue line. A wrist shot and a pad save. A rebound driven on goal, and Stefan has lost his stick. Stevens fires high over the goal. Back into the corner goes Kastelik. He centers in front, and it's played away by O'Connell. And now a tie-up. Francischetti's in there, so is Hunter. They tie up on the backboards, and Hunter's helmet has been knocked away by Barr. And the linesmen come in there to break it up. There's a break in the action with the score. The Red Wings 4 and the Capitals nothing.
Protecting your...
Well, the Capitals will be on the power play with a penalty to Jeff Sharples. Time for the second Circuit City power play contest. The second contestant, Mark Arnold of Washington. Mark has chosen Dave Christian as the Capitals player to score in the power play. If Christian scores, Mark receives a video or stereo unit courtesy of Circuit City.
9:06 of the second period, the time of the call. Sharples for holding. Capitals on the power play, and here's Stevens at the point with Murphy. Scott Stevens, a slap shot, deflected and lying loose at the side of the net, but it's cleared by Delorme. Back to the point for Stevens. He keeps it in, but Higgins sends it all the way down. Larry Murphy into the corner, tosses it up the boards and gets it back. Here comes Stevens to center ice. Right wing pass for Gustafsson. Down the middle, a backhand shot. That's deflected into the crowd for a souvenir.
Doug Hallward, the man who did the job on Gustafson, getting the stick on that backhand attempt. And Brian Murray's combinations have just not worked tonight. The power play giving the Capitals a chance to slice into this 4-0 lead, but Detroit has come out from the opening face-off, taken the play right to Washington. Much better effort, as I mentioned, from the Caps, but Jacques Demers' team has had no letdown for the entire game, and we're almost halfway through with 10:13 left to go in this second period.
Shane Corson has scored for Montreal. So is Ryan Walder. The Canadians now with a 3-1 lead over Quebec at the end of one period of play. At the Forum, right here, the Red Wings have a 4-0 lead over the Capitals with 10 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the second period. Washington's power play continues. Harold Sneps with some hustle, clears it all the way back to the Washington line. Scott Stevens headmans the puck to Craig Laughlin. He throws into the corner. It's behind the net, cleared off the boards at the blue line. Stevens keeps it in. Now it bounces in behind the Red Wing goal. Veach moves it along. Laughlin plays it off the backboards over to Mike Ridley. That's intercepted and cleared on the right wing side for Yzerman, and he bounces it all the way back into the Washington zone. 30 seconds to go in the penalty call to Jeff Sharples. Murphy drives it in. Into the corner goes Christian. Up the right wing boards, intended for Murphy, but now the Red Wings come back shorthanded. Here's Burr. Stevens took a big run at him but missed. Burr just jumped away. Now here's Murphy to start back. Capitals have the puck. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Lead pass. Hops past the stick of Mike Ridley. In the Detroit zone, it's kept in by Kevin Hatcher. Now Hallward tied up in the corner, and Ridley has the puck. Over to Mike Gartner. Gartner back to Gary Galley, a wrist shot, and it's deflected over the glass by goalkeeper Greg Steffen. Did a good job handling that high, hard drive from Galley.
Did an excellent job, and you can see the Capitals trying to go up high on Steffen now. He'll go down a bit. In the last number of shots the Capitals have had, they've tried to go top shelf, but a good shoulder save by the Red Wing goaltender. Well, Mark Arnold had chosen Dave Christian as the Caps player to score the power play, and since he did not, Mark wins 4 tickets to a future Capitals home game.
Now the New Jersey Devils are playing against the New York Rangers tonight at Madison Square Garden. Aaron Broughton has come up with the New Jersey goal, and the Rangers with goals by Mullen and Nemeth, and they now have a 2-1 lead over the Devils at the Garden. The goaltenders are Bob Sauvé for New Jersey and John Van Beesbrook for New York. That score at the end of one period of play. Rangers 2, Devils 1. A drive from the point, stopped by Steffen, and the Red Wings have managed to kill off the penalty to Sharples. Here comes Yzerman across the blue line. A slap shot just wide of Malarchuk. Back into the corner for O'Connell. He throws it behind the net. Before Yzerman can get to it, Kevin Hatcher, who was born here in Detroit, starts out to center ice. Here's Hatcher across the blue line. Wrist shot on goal, and the save is made. And Steffen kicks it out. The Red Wings come back. Yzerman down the middle, in alone, a scoring chance. And Gallant throws it right into the pads of Malarchuk, who covers up, and then in the crush, the Washington goal becomes dislodged.
Well, the Capitals are gambling. The Capitals are pushing to try and get on the board, and they're opening themselves up to breaks. And again, it's the Yzerman line that leads the way. It comes down 2-on-1. The flurry will get finished up then by Bob Probert. A nice drop pass. Gallant whistles a shot in there. Malarchuk takes a piece of it and sends it wide. Then another 2-on-1 with Greg Smith, the only man back. Yzerman again working. It's in front. And watch out, Bob Probert, who is outstanding in going to the net. He goes to the net as well as any forward in the league. He can't get anything on it as the Capitals finally cover up in front of Clint Malarchuk. And the concern on Brian Murray's face, understandable. His team is getting beaten and beaten badly here. Not only are the Red Wings beating the Capitals to lose pucks, but they're creating odd man breaks, and that is almost the unpardonable sin for a team that prides itself on defense like the Capitals. But when you're behind 4-0, you've got to open things up a bit to try and get back in, and the Red Wings are certainly opportunistic enough with this Yzerman line in particular. And boy, aren't you playing into the hands of the Detroit Red Wings when you give them any kind of lead, let alone a 4-goal lead. They love to just bang it off the boards and dump it out anyway. Here, if you give them some breakaway situations, they've got enough offensive talent to really bury you and bury you in a hurry. They're not just content to chase it down. They're really looking to put the Capitals in a complete and total hole.
4-0 Detroit with 8:07 to go in the second period. Yzerman to work the draw against Bengt Gustafsson. Red Wings get it. Gallant's drive is deflected to the corner. And Miller gets it out to center ice. Yzerman fires it right back in. Hatcher over to the corner boards after it. Now Probert bumps in the corner with Mike Gartner of the Capitals. Back to the point. Here's Harold Snep's a drive. That's blocked. A rebound. Shot just wide of the net as Malarchuk was down. Back into the corner for Veach. Gustafsson gets a stick on it, but it's stolen off the goalpost by Yzerman on the backhander. The Capitals come out. Here comes Miller to center ice. Kelly Miller across the blue line. Gustafsson drops the pass, and the Red Wings come back. Probert up to Yzerman on right wing. He fires, hits the side of the net. Stolen puck off the skates of Miller back to the corner. Yzerman and Miller collide. Gartner back into the corner. The Capitals themselves must feel like they're in the corner now. The Red Wings have really got the pressure on, and O'Connell flips it into the glove of Malarchuk to stop play. There's a break in the action with a score. Detroit 4, Washington nothing.
There's a new civilization where people have evolved beyond the need to stand in line. Mastered the art of being served when they wish. Developed technology for continuous communications. And conquered space for work and relaxation. Amtrak's Metroliner service, the most advanced civilization from Washington to New York.
All aboard Amtrak.
Looking for a great holiday gift? How about a Capital season ticket or partial plan? You can guarantee yourself to be in on all the action. And for more information, just call the Caps office right now, where sales reps are standing by at 386-7000.
Some big opponents coming up in the Norris division, and then right back to Patrick division play, and you'll want to be part of all the action at the Capitol Center. We hope to see you there. At the point, the puck is kept in the Washington zone, and the Capitals struggle to get out. Here's Scott Stevens. A pass up off the stick of Dave Christian, and as Murray Eves takes it over back inside the blue line, the Red Wing fans here at the Joe Louis Arena did not feel the play was offside, but Leon Stickle did.
There's a man who's enjoying his time now in the National Hockey League. He's played for a few years in the International Hockey League, a local product, played at the University of Michigan, and Murray Eves, with all the injuries that the Red Wings have undergone, has gotten some time and has proven to be a pretty solid fourth-line guy. He's a hustler, pretty good skater. He's caused the Capitals some problems already tonight with that speed.
You might remember his brother Mike Eves, who played with Minnesota and had just a horrible time with headaches following a series of concussions that ended his hockey career prematurely. The puck cleared out to center, and O'Connell throws it over now. Tossed by Sharples back into the Washington zone, and out comes Scott Stevens. A lead pass ahead for Dave Christian. He's across the blue line. Dekes his way in, fires, and a glove save knocked down by Steffen. He knocks the net off. The net is loose, and the puck is still loose in the corner. Now barreling in there is Higgins to throw a check. Play is still not going. Bob Hall is standing next to the net holding it, but does not see that the net is loose. Adams in the corner. Turns around, and finally Leon Stickle does see that the net has come undone, and I'm sure the Capitals were voicing concern over that situation from the bench. Stickle was holding the linesman's job down over on that side of the ice and was right in front of the Washington bench. And once again, Greg Steffen tries to play his hand wisely.
And I tell you, that post was off a lot more than it finally ended up, and Steffen pulled it back in towards him, and he was going to open it back on if the chance arose. Now this is where it goes off. He knocks it off right there. The good glove save again as the Capitals try to go high, and that's a pretty good indication how those nets can move. A lot of opposition fans get on Pete Peters, but you see a guy who's smaller than Pete Peters and Greg Steffen easily moves it by just bumping into him. So it shows you that, Pete Peters with that much bigger, stronger body, and how he loves to hug those posts, he can easily knock it off, and it's not an intentional situation. Fans around the league get on Pete Peters when that happens, particularly in Philadelphia. You see how easily it can be done.
In the corner, Kastelik tying up with Delorme. Now Bridgman throws the puck behind the net. 5:55 to play in the second period. At the point, Bill Holder a drive that's wide. Dale Hunter back to Kastelik. Jams up with Bridgman. A tie-up in the corner. Delorme has the sweater of Hunter pulled over his head. And Hunter manages to get his shirt back on, and now it's the Red Wings' Hallward with possession behind the Detroit net. Kastelik waiting in front of Steffen, challenging him and holding Hallward at bay.
Classic look at the Capitals forechecking pattern, that 1-2-2. Trying to keep 3 men in the zone to forecheck.
Franciscetti bottled up by Delorme. Here comes Kumpel on the left wing. Bridgman to Burr, back to Bridgman. Murphy chases him into the corner. Ties up on the sideboards. Now Bridgman trying to center, and the puck cleared to the blue line. It's Delorme keeping it in. Yzerman looking for Kumpel, but Kastelik picks it up and clears it all the way down. Caps change on the fly. Pretty good shift for Ed Kastelik out there with some good forechecking. Here comes Sneps to start out to Kumpel on the right wing. Too far for Shabbat, and Kevin Hatcher starts back. Now to Greg Smith. Smith across the blue line. His shot deflected by the skate of Sneps. And off the boards out to center for Klima. He's got Hatcher to beat. He hustles in, and Hatcher takes him to the backboard. The puck's still loose. Malarchuk swats it back to the corner. Turnaround pass. Klima's open. He fires, but Greg Smith blocks it. Now trying to cover and allows Malarchuk to do the job there. Play is called with 4:06 to go in the second period. There's a break in the action with the score. The Red Wings 4 and the Capitals nothing.
I think the Giant family is not just the people in the store. You try to bring the customers, make them a part of you. You know, you get to know a little bit about them, and they get to know a little bit about you.
We must take care of them, always greet them with a smile, and make them feel like they are the most important person in the world when they walk up to your counter.
We have to make them feel at home, with a friendly welcome and a friendly goodbye. Customers are definitely part of the Giant family.
Oh, Mark LeVar has scored for Chicago. Dino Ciccarelli for Minnesota. They're tied 1-1 at the Met Center. Darren Pang, who had a good game against the Capitals, but Pete Peters had a better one, in goal for Chicago. And Kerry Taco in goal for Minnesota tonight. Ryan Walter has scored his second goal of the game. That prompted a goalie change for Quebec. Ron LaPointe putting Mario Brunetta in to replace Mario Goslin. 6:03 of the second period. Stéphane Richer hits for Montreal right after that. The Canadians are ahead 5-1 over Ron LaPointe's Quebec Nordiques. Right here, the Red Wings with a 4-0 lead. 4 minutes to go in the second period. Capitals trying to get back in the game. Here comes Sundstrom across the line. Leads to Bobby Gould. Back to the point. It hits Laughlin's stick and is taken over now by Shabbat. Up to Barr on the right wing. Barr checked by Smith. Wrist shot. They score at the side of the net. There was Klima, who one-times it over the shoulder of Malarchuk. Detroit is ahead 5-0.
The Capitals having a miserable time even doing simple things like clearing the zone. Greg Smith with a terrific check on Dave Barr. But when the puck squirted free, Kevin Hatcher couldn't get it out. It was kept in the zone. You see Hatcher with the puck. He tries to get it out, but instead it goes back to Barr, who's kept it in. And the pass down low to where Peter Klima, who's falling down, gets it past. That's Shabbat again, who picks up his 4th assist of the night. A simple play. Greg Smith out high, knocks Barr off the puck the way you've got to do it, but instead of getting the puck out of the zone, Hatcher bangs it off the glass and hits off a Detroit player, stays in the zone, and the Red Wings turn it right around to roar again with a 5-0 lead.
Klima's 18th goal of the season, second of the night. John Shabbat with an assist, and as well Dave Barr. at 16-20. Here's Miller over on the right wing. Gustafson tried to send it home, but it's played back to center ice by Probert of Detroit. The Capitals' Scott Stevens leads a pass ahead for Gustafson, and Scott Stevens moves it back to the Detroit line. O'Connell, a long lead pass. They're onside. The puck loose in front of the net, and Malarchuk had to scramble to try and cover up there. It seemed as though the Caps defense was almost waiting to see if the offside was going to be called, but it wasn't. And the play onside, they had a chance. 5-0 Red Wings. We'll be right back.
Light up the night. When the sun goes down, gonna light up the night. Silver label, red ribbon, taste that's right. Gonna light up the night. Michelob Light. Gonna light up the night. Gonna light up the night. Gonna light up the night. My Michelob Light.
It has been a perfect night for the Detroit Red Wings so far. They have had plenty of chances. 21-12, they've outshot the Capitals. Another 2-on-1 break for Detroit, but the diving, sprawling stop there by Malarchuk after Gary Galley made a terrific play, diving out with his stick to break up that pass. Yzerman was looking for another.
Here's a drive by O'Connell right on goal, and the save made by Malarchuk. Off the sideboards. It's kept in the corner and cleared now to Greg Adams. Adams back to Larry Murphy. Murphy over to rookie defenseman Bill Holder over on the right wing side, and Christian skates out to center. Tied up by Probert. Here comes Ridley across the blue line. Looks for Adams, but O'Connell steals and flips it out to center ice. Murphy over to Holder. Holder across the red line, and the Red Wings steal. Back comes Gallant. He's got Probert with him. Flips it in front. Yzerman with a high shot. Malarchuk was down, but still made the save. Now back to the right point for O'Connell. Into the corner. Ridley ties up on the backboards. The puck comes loose. Here's Murphy. Murphy skates ahead now to Christian. And Adams sends it back inside the Red Wing zone. 1:45 to go in the second period. Capitals trailing by 5 goals. Here's Yzerman to center. In across the blue line. Yzerman's wrist shot sticked aside by Malarchuk. Now back over to Greg Smith. Kastelik gets out of the zone. Starts ahead with Hunter. Hunter across the blue line into the Red Wing end. He's got Francischetti. Passes. And Francischetti only gets a piece of the puck. Not enough to send it on goal. The Red Wings clear it. And Smith across the line, but Sharples drives it out. That stops play as he makes contact with a puck coming off a Detroit high stick.
There's really been nothing in the way of good news for Brian Murray lately, although he did probably get a little piece of it today, and we can pass it on to Capital fans. I spoke with General Manager David Poile this afternoon, and the word has been very positive on the recovery of Rod Langway. He's been checked out recently by both Dr. Haas and Dr. Wiesel. They say he's making progress. Rod Langway will continue to skate, continue to take exercise, and the Capitals are hoping that if he continues to progress in the way he has, and that he is able to skate without a great deal of discomfort, they're shooting for a January 1st return for Rod Langway. And the way the Capitals are playing, they need all the help they can get from their captain and the guy who's still one of the best defensive defensemen in the game. So Rod Langway looks like he's back on schedule in the recovery from a ruptured disc.
Michel Petit and Tomas Sandstrom have scored for the Rangers. They're now ahead 4-1 over the Devils. And Rick Vaive has his 24th goal of the year for Chicago. And the Blackhawks are in the lead 2-1 over Minnesota. How can the Blackhawks be in last place with Vaive playing the way he is? He needs some help again.
Well, he needs a lot of help. They've got a lot of injuries as well, and their defense is almost as bad as the LA King defense. I tell you, Darren Pang and Bob Mason have seen a ton of shots back there in the Chicago nets because nobody's helping out in front of them defensively.
Here's Higgins across the blue line. Looks for Joe Murphy, and a wrist shot right on. A save by Malarchuk. The rebound is loose at the side of the goal. Taken behind the net. Murphy tries to wrap it around, and now Eaves gets a stick on it. And Greg Smith ties up with Murphy at the side of the net. And the pushing and shoving continues as the linesman Jerry Pateman And Leon Stickle right in there to try and keep everybody apart.
Well, even the fourth line for the Detroit Red Wings are having field days against the Capitals tonight. Everybody's scrambling around. At least the Capitals have some help back there for Clint Malarchuk, but again, it's a scrambling type of help. Nobody is really sure of their position. They're all flying around and running around. Hatcher flying behind the net trying to keep up with Murray Eves. And the troubled look of Captain Mike Gartner says it all, the acting captain of the Capitals, the guy who led that closed-door meeting last night, and it certainly looked like it had some effect in the first period where the Capitals came out strong, but the Red Wings have just completely dominated in this second period to open up the 5-0 lead. The Capitals just continue to run around. It's like nobody is really sure of their positioning and trying to do a lot of things themselves and not depending on help from other people. They're not covering up for each other. One guy will make the play, but nobody's there to help out and cover up on the loose puck.
35 seconds to go in the second period. Burr pumps it back into Washington ice. Here's Lachlan in the corner. Throws it behind the goal for Scott Stevens. Out to Sundstrom. Flips to center, and Harold Snepps dumps it right back into the Washington end. Here's Stevens behind the net. Chased by Bridgman. The puck stolen. A goal mouth pass, but the Red Wings Kumpel unable to take it. Now Sundstrom in the corner with 8 seconds to go in the period. Back to Kumpel in front. And Stevens has it bounce off Bridgman's skate as time runs out. Sundstrom takes it behind the net. A second period that provides 3 more Red Wing scores. Barr on the power play, Yzerman and Klima. Shots on goal in the second period. Washington with 8, a 2-period total of 12. And the Red Wings with 13 shots on goal, a 2-period total of 25 for the night so far. More hockey coming up from the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, after these messages here on your Superstation for Sports, DC 20.